Come, little one, settle in, snuggle close as Oma softly reads poetry by the fire. Listen to the soft breeze outside as we rock in my rocking chair and think about lovely flowers. All of our poems tonight will be about flowers, thinking about them coming, looking at them where they are in front of us, and what flowers sometimes can represent. Just different ways to think about flowers. So snuggle in, get comfy, and let's start reading. Our first poem comes from A Child's Garden of Verse by Robert Louis Stevenson. It's a whole book of all of his poems. And this first one is called Foreign Lands. Up into the cherry tree, who should climb but little me? I held the trunk with both my hands and looked abroad on foreign lands. I saw the next door garden lie, adorned with flowers before my eye, and many pleasant places more than I had never seen before. I saw the dimpling river pass, and be the sky's blue looking glass. The dusty roads go up and down with people tramping into town. If I could find a higher tree, farther and farther I should see, to where the grown-up river slips into the sea among the ships, to where the roads on either hand lead onward into fairyland, where all the children dine at 5 and all the playthings come alive. This next one, also by Robert Louis Stevenson, and it's called Good Boy. I woke before the morning. I was happy all the day. I never said an ugly word, but smiled and stuck to play. And now at last the sun is going down behind the wood, and I am very happy, for I know that I've been good. My bed is waiting, cool and fresh, with linen smooth and fair, and I must be off to sleep sin by, and not forget my prayer. I know that, till tomorrow, I shall see the sun arise. No ugly dream shall fright my mind, no ugly sight my eyes. But slumber hold me tightly till I waken in the dawn, and hear the thrushes singing and the lilacs round the lawn. Okay. This last one, also by Robert Louis Stevenson, is called The Flowers. All the names I know from nurse: gardener's garters, shepherd's purse, bachelor's buttons, lady's smock, and the lady hollyhock. Fairy places, fairy things, fairy woods where the wild bee wings, tiny trees for tiny dames. These must all be fairy names. Tiny woods below whose boughs shady fairies weave a house. Tiny treetops, rose or thyme, where the braver fairies climb. Fair are grown-up people's trees, but the fairest woods are these, where, if I were not so tall, I should live for good and all. These next poems are by Christina Georgina Rossetti. There's several of these. First one is called Love from the North. I had a love in soft Southland, beloved through April, far in May. He waited on my lightest breath and never dared to say me nay. He saddened if my cheer was sad, but gay if he grew if I was gay. We never differed on a hair, my yes, my nay, his nay. The wedding hour was come, the aisles were flushed with sun and flowers that day. I pacing balanced in my thoughts, it's quite too late to think of nay. My bridegroom answered in his turn. Myself had almost answered yea. When through the flashing nave I heard a struggle and resounding nay. Bridemaids and bridegrooms shrank in fear, but I stood high who stood at bay. And if I answer, yea, fair sir, what man art thou to bar with May? He was a strong man from the north, light-locked with eyes of dangerous gray. Put yea by for another time, in which I will not say thee nay. He took me in his strong white arms, he bore me on his horse away, o'er crag, morass, and hairbreadth pass, but never asked me yea or nay. He made me fast with book and bell, with links of love he makes me stay. Till now I've neither heart nor power, nor will, nor wish to say him nay. This one is Winter Rain. Every valley drinks, every dell and hollow, where the kind rain sinks and sinks, green of spring will follow. Yet a lapse of weeks, buds will burst their edges, strip their wool coats, glue coats, streaks in the woods and hedges. Weave a bower of love for birds to meet each other, weave a canopy above, nest and egg and mother. But for fattening rain, we should have no flowers, never a bud or leaf again, but for soaking showers. Never a mated bird in the rocking treetops, never indeed a flock or herd to graze upon the lee crops. Lambs so woolly white, sheep the sun bright leas on, they could have no grass to bite, but for rain in season. We should find no moss in the shadiest places, find no waving meadow grass pied with broad-eyed daisies, but miles of barren sand, with never a son or daughter, not a lily on the land, or lily on the water. And that is it interesting to think about. We can't have the flowers without the water. This one, also by Rossetti, is called Spring. Frost locked all the winter, seeds and roots and stones of fruits. What shall make their sap ascend, that they may put forth shoots, tips of tender green, leaf or blade or sheath, telling of the hidden life that breaks forth underneath, life nursed in its grave by death. Blows the thaw wind pleasantly, drips the soaking rain, by fits looks down the waking sun, young grass springs on the plain. Young leaves clothe early hedgerow trees, seeds and roots and stones of fruits, swollen with sap, put forth their shoots. Curled-headed ferns sprout in the lane, birds sing and pair again. There is no time like spring, when life's alive in everything. Before new nestlings sing, before cleft swallows speed their journey back along the trackless track. God guides their wing, he spreads their table that they nothing lack. Before the daisy grows a common flower, before the sun has power to scorch the world up in his noontide hour. There is no time like spring that passes by. There is no life like spring life born to die. Piercing the sod, clothing the uncouth clod, hatched in the nest, fledged on the windy bough, strong on the wing, there is no time like spring that passes by, now newly born and now hastening to die. Okay, this next one is called Another Spring. If I might see another spring, I'd not plant summer flowers and wait. I'd have my crocuses at once, my leafless pink mesrones, my chill veined snowdrops choicer yet, my white and azure violet, leaf nested primrose, anything to blow at once, not late. If I might see another spring, I'd listen to the daylight birds that build their nests and pair and sing. Now, nor wait for mateless nightingale, I'd listen to the lusty herds, the ewes with lambs as white as snow. I'd find out music in the hail and all the winds that blow. If I might see another spring, oh stinging comment on my past, that all my past results in if I might see another spring, I'd laugh today, today is brief. I would not wait for anything, I'd use today that cannot last, be glad today, and sing. This one is Sweet Death. The sweetest blossoms die. And so it was that, going day by day unto the church to praise and pray, and crossing the green churchyard thoughtfully, I saw how on the graves the flowers shed their fresh leaves in showers, and how their perfume rose up to the sky before it passed away. The youngest blossoms die. They die and fall and nourish the rich earth from which they lately had their birth. Sweet life, but sweeter death, that passeth by and is as though it had not been. All colors turn to green, the bright hues vanish and the odors fly, the grass hath lasting worth, and youth and beauty die. So be it, O my God, thou God of truth, better than beauty and than youth. Our saints and angels a glad company, and thou, O Lord, our rest and ease, art better far than these. Why should we shrink from our full harvest? Why prefer to glean with Ruth? Okay. This one is called Consider the Lilies of the Field, also by Christina Georgina Rossetti. Flowers preach to us if we will hear. The rose saith in the dewy morn, I am most fair, yet all my loveliness is born upon a thorn. The poppy saith amid the corn, let but my scarlet head appear, and I am held in scorn. Yet juice of subtle virtue lies within my cup of curious dyes. The lilies say, behold how we preach without words of purity. The violets whisper from the shade, which their own leaves have made. Men scent our fragrance on the air, yet take no heed of humble lessons we would read. But not alone the fairest flowers, the merest grass, along the roadside where we pass, lichen and moss and sturdy weed, tell of his love who sends the dew, the rain and sunshine too, to nourish one small seed. Okay, this last one is just an excerpt from a longer poem that is called A Year's Wind Falls by Christina Rossetti. And this is the excerpt that is focused on April. With the gusts of April, rich fruit tree blossoms fall on the hedged-in orchard green from the southern wall. Apple trees and pear trees shed petals white or pink, plum trees and peach trees, while sharp showers sink and sink. Okay, let's go to a different book. Okay, this next poem is called The Picture of Little T.C. in a Prospect of Flowers, and it is by Andrew Marvell. See with what simplicity this nymph begins her golden days. In the green grass she loves to lie, and there with her fair aspect tames the wilder flowers and gives them names. But only with the roses plays, and them does tell what color best becomes them and what smell. Who can foretell for what high cause this darling of the gods was born? Yet this is she whose chaste her laws the wanton love shall one day fear, and under her command severe see his bough broke and the ensigns torn. Happy who can appease this virtuous enemy of man. Oh then, let me in time compound, and parley with those conquering eyes, ere they have tried their force to wound, ere with their glancing wheels they drive, in triumph over hearts that strive, and them that yield but more despise. Let me be laid where I may see the glories from some shade. Meantime, whilst every verdant thing itself does at thy beauty charm, reform the errors of the spring, make that the tulips may have share of sweetness, seeing they are fair, and roses of their thorns disarm, but most procure that violets may a longer age endure. But O young beauty of the woods, whom nature courts with fruits and flowers, gather the flowers, but spare the buds, lest Flora, angry at that crime, to kill her infants in their prime, do quickly make the example yours, and ere we see, nip in the blossom all our hopes in thee. We got one more book in this area. So what do you think of? All of those green things. Do you think about grass being a flower? Or how important it is and how the flowers seed the grass? I liked that part. Okay. This next poem is by I'm sorry, this is by Wordsworth. I got distracted. And it is called the small celandine. And apparently this is a particular flower that caught his eye because he mentions it in several poems, but we're just going to read this one. There is a flower, the lesser celandine, that shrinks, like many more, from cold and rain. And the first moment that the sun may shine, bright as the sun himself, 'tis out again. When hailstones have been falling, swarm on swarm, or blast the green field and the trees distressed, oft have I seen it muffled up from harm in close self-shelter like a thing at rest. But lately, one rough day, this flower I passed and recognized it, though an altered form, now standing forth and offering to the blast and buffeted at will by rain and storm. I stopped and said with inly muttered voice, it doth not love the shower, nor seek the cold. This neither is its courage nor its choice, but its necessity in being old. The sunshine may not cheer it, nor the dew. It cannot help itself in its decay, stiff in its members, withered, changed of hue. And in my spleen I smiled that it was gray. To be a prodigal's favorite, then, worse truth, a miser's pensioner, behold our lot. O man, that from thy fair and shining youth, age might but take the things youth heeded not. He saw the seasons of age in the flowers. What do you see in the flowers? What? Our next poem is by Norman Gale, and it is called Thanks. Thank you very much indeed, river, for your waving reed, hollyhocks for budding knobs, foxgloves for your velvet fobs, pansies for your silky cheeks, chaffinches for singing beaks, spring for wood anemones near the mossy toes of trees, summer for the fruited pear, yellowing crab and cherry fair, autumn for the bearded load, hazelnuts along the road, winter for the fairy tale, spitting log and bouncing hail. But best blessed Father high above, all these joys are from thy love, and your children everywhere, born in palace, lane, or square, cry with voices all agreed, thank you very much indeed. A Garden by Thomas Edward Brown. A garden is a lovesome thing, God wot, rose plot, French pool, ferned grot, the veriest school of peace, and yet the fool contends that God is not God in gardens. When the eve is cool, nay, but I have a sign, 'tis very sure God walks in mine. This is another one by William Wordsworth. It's called The Daffodils. I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats on high o'er vales and hills, when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils, beside the lake, beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze. Continuous as the stars that shine and twinkle on the Milky Way, they stretched in never-ending line along the margin of a bay, 10,000 saw I at a glance, tossing their heads in sprightly dance. The waves beside them danced, but they outdid the sparkling waves in glee. A poet could not but be gay in such a jocund company. I gazed and gazed, but little thought what wealth the show to me had brought. For oft, when on my couch I lie, in vacant or in pensive mood, they flash upon that inward eye which is the bliss of solitude, and then my heart with pleasure fills and dances with the daffodils. Tiger Lilies by Thomas Bailey Aldrich. I like not lady slippers, nor yet the sweet pea blossoms, nor yet the flaky roses, red or white as snow. I like the shallowest lilies, the heavy eastern lilies, the gorgeous tiger lilies that in our garden grow. For they are tall and slender, their mouths are dashed with carmine, and when the wind sweeps by them on their emerald stalks, they bend so proud and graceful. They are Circassian women, the favorites of the Sultan, adown our garden walks. And when the rain is falling, I sit beside the window and watch them glow and glisten, how they burn and glow. Oh, for the burning lilies, the tender eastern lilies, the gorgeous tiger lilies that in our garden grow. The Rhodora by Ralph Waldo Emerson. In May, when sea winds pierced our solitudes, I found the fresh rhodora in the woods, spreading its leafless blooms in a damp nook to please the desert and the sluggish brook. The purple petals, fallen in the pool, made the black water with their beauty gay. Here might the red bird come his plumes to cool and court the flowers that cheapen his array. Rhodora, if the sages ask thee why this charm is wasted on the earth and sky, tell them, dear, that if eyes were made for seeing, then beauty is its own excuse for being. Why thou wert there, O rival of the rose, I never thought to ask, I never knew, but in my simple ignorance suppose the self-same power that brought me there brought you.